back, family. It's from Soldier to Civilian in 8 days. Episode 5, part 2. So you know what that means, right? I have, let's count it, 26, 27, and 28. Got 3 days remaining. And I've got some really special episodes coming up next. I'm going to do the last two over a course of two episodes. Again, I've kind of figured out that that's the best way to do this. So today we're going to pick it back up at Fort Hunter Liggett, and when we got there, that's us first moving in to the house down there. And I tell you what, there's a lot that's said about Fort Hunter Liggett. But if you haven't actually experienced it, I need you to just calm down a little bit. Um, Fort Hunter Liggett is actually a really, really good place to be. Well, at least while I was there, it's what I needed while I was there. And what I've learned is I think about this frequently, and I think about the course of my career, and I could not have timed things as perfectly as they have played out. And it's amazing to me, just looking back over the last 5 days roughly, and watching myself progress, and understanding the process of where I was during the pictures that I showed and I've shared. And I've left out a ton of details, a ton of details. But those are going to be for the book. So we're at Fort Hunter Liggett, and what Fort Hunter Liggett 3356 LSB afforded me, once I was able to get my life back together, as it were, and as much as possible, and finally figure out what was ailing me and get put on the proper regiment to begin the healing process, I was able to begin to, because of the type of the unit that I was in, and because of the great team that I had, I'm gonna say this: 95% of the teams that I have been able to be a part of were spectacular. And I don't, a lot of times you will hear soldiers talking about the 5% or the 10%, or maybe even the 15%, but they don't talk about the vast majority of their experience when they go through the Army. Is it tough? Absolutely. Is it challenging? Without a doubt. Do you make sacrifices? Immensely. But all in all, the Army has provided me the opportunity to provide for my kids in a way that I didn't have, I never received, unfortunately. But fortunately, because I'm able to appreciate what I've been able to do with them, as well as me being able to PCS down to Fort Hunter Liggett. I stayed in California for the sake of my children, to make sure that I was close enough to get to them whenever I needed to. And things don't always work out the way you want, but you got to continue to push forward. So I continued to live. We continued to thrive. We continued to build together. And again, being at Fort Hunter Liggett, I was uh I was able to begin to make up for some lost time. Again, I had reconnected with my high school sweetheart, and we established we've established something ridiculously special that can't be put into words, that can't be replicated, that can't be overstated, that can't be described, but we have it. I was able to catch up with old friends. I love that picture of my sister and me. That's why I got it there. But I was able to catch up with some old friends, Antoine Bynum, Drew Fisher, Major Fisher, Fishkin, Fisher. I'm thinking about one of the soldiers out here, Andrew Fishkin and his wife, and time didn't was not wasted. It was not wasted. I was able to embrace watching the progress of children and young adults, as it were. I don't want to hurt nobody's feelings. Have anybody upset with me, but watching our teenagers, grow from babies to younger to teenagers and to young adults, and I also had the opportunity of getting to know new family and celebrate them as well, and watch them bloom and blossom and do great things in their lives. It's Fort Hunter Liggett brought me that. It gave me the ability to learn my kids even more, for us to go out and explore things together, hang out with people, establish a community, establish a community. Soldiers of the 3356 LSB, man, you guys are so near and dear to my heart. You all really are. Wild Stallions, the Wild Stallions. I have served with a lot of, I don't know why I'm talking so loud and I've got a microphone right here, but I have served with a lot of mechanics throughout my career. As a matter of fact, when I was mobilized out to Fort Riley, Kansas, I we had an LSB attached to us, and they have phenomenal workers. And I had experience with other LSBs throughout my career all as well. But when I tell y'all, these mechanics at the 3356 LSB on Fort Hunter Liggett, they are second to absolutely none. Absolutely none. I was given the ability to lead these soldiers and take care of them and assist with reestablishing esprit de corps and motivation and accountability and all of that good stuff, along with Captain Jed Flynn. And I think we accomplished that mission with these soldiers. I think we brought something back that had been beaten out of them previously. Army leaders, if your only ability or if your definition of leadership is to simply and continuously step on your soldiers' necks, write bad counsel statements, cuss people out, yell at them, I would highly advise you to go back and rethink about what it is to be a leader because you're failing. Being sharp tongued and with a hard knife hand, and there's a time for that. Don't get me wrong. There's a time for that. Oh, detour. So one of the soldiers pictured in this actual photo in the middle, her last name was Cullen. And while in Iraq, our soldier's name was Cullen. I never forgot that. Anyway, back to what I was saying. So if that's your only form of actual leadership, I would definitively recommend, highly advise you go back and restudy what it is to be a leader. Those types of leaders never get the best out of their soldiers, and these soldiers gave us their absolute all. They gave us their all, and we gave it back to them. Lieutenant Colonel Martins, Sergeant Major, Command Sergeant Major Amesquito, Captain Flint, Major Flint, Captain Vea, Sean Thompson, Sean Salgado, Sean Kane, all of these great, outstanding soldiers. I'm saving the best for last. That's why you haven't heard your name yet. I got you, bruh. I got you. We're gonna get there. But when you are simply hurling your soldiers, crushing your soldiers, you're never going to get them to produce what you're asking for and what you need. They're going to give you the bare minimum. Why would they perform for a tyrant, for somebody who doesn't care about them? We spent hours perfecting the art of knocking out this ACFT within the time frame, and they soldiered forward. They gutted it out. They hung in there with us, and I appreciate them for that. One of the hardest things about being a soldier, if not the hardest thing, if you ask me, um, it reigns true with storming, norming, conforming, and performing. I'm going to pause that right there because I'm going to come back to that. Storming, norming, conforming, and performing. Sean Thompson. Hey, thank you, man. Thank you. These soldiers. So we had Sean Thompson before we ended up with my battle buddy Salgado, the Salgados, Patricio Salgado, and his wife and his beautiful daughters. But I'll come back to that statement. One of the things that I've learned how to appreciate in the United States Army is uh, celebrating soldiers. I have learned how to listen to where they've come from, to appreciate their sacrifices, to understand who they are, to engage with soldiers. And not everybody that you find yourself soldiering with, you don't establish close ties with everybody, but you establish a certain respect for these soldiers. A respect that transcends the barriers of the army. In this picture, this is Staff Sergeant Reber's retirement. And we put this on for her. Oh my goodness. So the 3356 LSB soldiers are made up of soldiers headquarters was in or is in Fort Hunter Liggett, California, but they also have a detachment of soldiers that are in Arizona. And it takes a lot of coordination to make sure we get soldiers to be able to come together and do some good and proper training. And Sergeant Reber, Jennifer Reber was one of the soldiers from Arizona, 42 Alpha, HR. She was a clerk. She worked with Manny, Mr. Castro, and Sean Garcia. There's a correction. We have two. We had we. They have two satellite locations. So they have Arizona, and then they have another satellite location in Southern California. I didn't forget y'all. It was a momentary lapse. Bear with me, team. So Sean Reber retired, and we were able to celebrate that with her. And several years later, and this is listen, this is the truth of the situation, man. When you meet good people, you meet good soldiers, they know that you care about them. You've led them, you've assisted them, you've coached them, you've given them the best advice you could come up with, both professionally and if asked for personally. I was able to reach out to Sergeant Reber when I got stationed here at Fort Knox, which is going to start the ending of this series. Um, and she assisted me with getting the house that I am currently in. That's People are going to remember how you treat them. They might not remember your name, but they're going to remember how you treated them. I guarantee that. I can call out a ton of soldiers, a ton of senior NCOs that tried to treat me like crap. But just like I can remember their names, I can call out even more who treated me fairly, with dignity and respect. And that's what you want to try and do as you go forward. And the reason why is you have these soldiers out here. They're depending on you. You got them out in the field. You've got them in uncomfortable situations. You know that they're going to be tired. You know that they're going to be challenged. You know that you're putting them through stressful situations. You know it. But that's part of the job. There was a quote that I saw as a young soldier back at the 380th Quartermaster Company, and it said, "We stress our soldiers out during peacetime so that it's a normal thing during wartime," and that's part of our jobs also. Again, I had a leadership role in this battalion, and I took it to heart. I took it to heart. There was never a time when the soldiers from Los Al convoyed up or buses from Arizona pulled in, or when the soldiers left the unit, either convoy or bus, that I wasn't present unless I was sick. There was never that time. Strongly care about these soldiers. They entrusted me to take care of them, and I did the best that I could. And just like we had them out here in this field, and we wore them out that day. I remember that. That was a long BA for some people. I've got some more pictures of these where I've got soldiers that are just looking off in the distance, like, what just happened in my life? Oh yeah, yeah. But just like we put them through the ringer, like this bottom right picture, or better yet, this, we make sure that we allow them to enjoy themselves, to express themselves, to get that stress out, and you be there with them. We did karaoke this night. So I absolutely love karaoke. I will do karaoke at the drop of a hat, drop of a dime. I love it. So you celebrate with your soldiers. You celebrate with your soldiers because you show them that they matter to you. And don't haphazardly do it. You be honest and genuine about that engagement. This was the Army's birthday. And my soldier, one of my supply clerks, Specialist Rodriguez, and at the time, Captain Mary Vare, they, being the youngest and the oldest present soldier at the time, which is not saying anything bad, ma'am, they cut the cake. And I loved seeing that. I loved seeing that. I loved being involved in it. I loved being able to take this picture. That meant a lot to me to watch this. And yes, I was present on my birthday to capture this because it mattered. These things matter. Being invited to share a stage with your brother, to go into a studio and lay down some chords. These are the things that matter the most. Because before you know it, as much as you have soldiered hard and you've given to these soldiers and you've poured into these soldiers and you've invested in these soldiers and you've sacrificed to give your time and you've always just cultivated these things. I spoke with another soldier today who gave me some outstanding news that I was so happy to hear. He ended up becoming doing a med board, and he's 100% disabled, and he'll be retiring out after almost 30 years as well. And that those are the types of things that you want to hear. These success stories from your soldiers. You want to hear that several years later. You want to you always hope that you've made a difference somehow, some way, somewhere. And it doesn't have to be a difference for everybody, but if you can reach one, if you can reach one, you've changed the world. Soldiers of the 3356 LSP, you all reached me. You changed my life and you changed my world. And it took the process of storming, of norming, of conforming, and performing for us to get to where we needed to be. And before we know it, we all go through those processes. And before you know it, we end up departing, which is the last step of that process. And that is the hardest part of soldiering. You go through all of those other processes on the front end and you work through them. And they progressively become a science. And we all have shared expectations, shared goals. We know how to maneuver. We know how to get to where we know how to hit that mission. We know what it means to sacrifice, when we're going to have to sacrifice, how we're going to have to sacrifice. And even if we don't know when something pops up, we know that we can shift. We know that we can rely on each other for a lifetime. And then we depart. 27 years in 8 days. It goes by in a blink. These are my soldiers. They they wrote on the back, and I had forgotten about that until I picked this up. Stockton, Rivera, Kim, Lieutenant Colonel Cracchiola, Son Cruz, Specialist Golden, Son Valenzuela, Son Hernandez, Specialist Chan, Son Salinas, Son Price, Son Major Haga, Son Collado, Captain Vea, Son Munoz, Son Reyes. I thank y'all for this. I uh I thank you all for the opportunity of allowing me to be your acting first song for the time that I was there at the battalion. There was a role that I saw needed to be filled, and I wanted to make sure I didn't turn my head and look elsewhere. Wild Stallions. Push forward. It says James A. Glass, Wild Stallions, 14 December 2020, 10 August 2023. Two is one and one is none. I got that from my buddy Matt. Like I stated, I'm a karaoke kind of man. I would tear down a karaoke stage at any given second, any given moment. And this one came from, I told you I was saving your name, the best for last, brother. Manny Castro gave me this right before I left. And it says, Jay Glass the movement, karaoke master. Jesus jumped up. Oh man. Just looking back, it's just amazing at the experiences that I've been afforded, and the people that I've been able to meet, people that have mentored me and poured into me, and have given me the proper tools to dispense that guidance, that leadership, that mentorship, to give that back out to somebody else. That's what it's about. 27 years. It goes by in a blink. As I get ready to close this out, all of this seems like It was just yesterday. And I woke up, and all of a sudden, just as soon as I signed a contract to join the army, it ended. I don't know where the time has gone. I know I've been a part of it. I know I've been moving along with the current of progress. I know that I have been living. I know that I've gained a lot. I know that I've gained a ton. I've gained more than what I probably deserve. And I know that I've also lost a lot. And I've tried to stay balanced. And I've tried to make sure I remembered what mattered most. It's almost time to go buy that t-shirt. I got my DD214s. 3 days left. Where did the time go? Where did the time go? Well, tomorrow we will pick things back up. Oh, before I do that, before I say that, I want to make sure I say this because this will fill in some of the blanks when we get to tomorrow. While at Fort Hunter Liggett, I started the process, the med board, to get out of the army. And I had filled out the packet. I sent the packet in. Um, and I honestly forgot about it. Truth be told, I didn't have a lot of communication going back and forth on it. And for some reason, there was no progress while in California. As a matter of fact, Maya mentioned to me not too long ago if I remembered complaining about not getting processed out just yet. But it stopped. It all stopped out of nowhere. And I ended up getting orders and I fought to get to Fort Knox, Kentucky with the 83rd RTA. That's